You're waiting for permission. Maybe you don't realize you're doing it, but you are. You're waiting for your parents to finally approve. You're waiting for your partner to encourage you, your friends to validate you, the universe to send some unmistakable sign that says, yes, yes, now you can change your life. You're waiting for your bank account to feel safe enough, your body to feel ready enough, your confidence to feel strong enough. You're waiting for your inner critic to finally shut up and say, okay, fine, you're ready now. And I need to tell you something. That permission that you're waiting for, it is never coming. Not because the people in your life don't love you, but because your growth requires them to face their own stuckness. And most people aren't ready for that. Hi, I'm Jodie. This is day 10 of the Change Code. Yesterday we talked about our inner critic and inner coach, the two voices in your head. Today we're talking about the permission you've been waiting for, why it's not coming, and how to finally give it to yourself. Because here's the truth, you're the only one that can. Let me paint you a picture and tell me if this sounds familiar. There's something you want to do, something that really matters to you. Maybe it's starting a business, leaving the relationship that's not working anymore, setting a boundary you've wanted to set up for years, taking up more space, or asking for what you actually want instead of what's safe. And you know you need to do it. You can feel it in your bones, but you keep waiting. You tell yourself, when my partner supports this, then I'll start. Or when my parents finally understand, then I'll make the move. When my friends validate this is the right decision, then I'll know. Or maybe it's not external. Maybe you're waiting for an internal green light. When I feel less anxious, then I'll be ready. When my inner critic quietens down, then I can try. When I'm more confident, then I'll deserve it. When I'm perfect or at least close, then I'll be enough. And so you wait. And while you're waiting, life keeps moving. Opportunities pass by. Time slips through your fingers. The resentment starts building. The quiet rage at yourself, at them, at the whole situation, but you stay stuck because you've given your power away. You've handed your life decisions to people who will never, and I mean never, give you the permission you're waiting for. Do you want to know why? Because your growth requires them to grow too. Your partner would have to face their own fear of change. Your parents would have to question whether they made the right life choices. Your friends would have to look at why they're still stuck. Your inner critic would have to admit that maybe, just maybe, you're capable of this. Most people aren't ready to face that. I lived this for years. I was working in the corporate world, 25 years, helping ginormous companies navigate change, and I was really good at it. Successful on paper, the kind of success that looks impressive and sounds impressive at a dinner party, but I was really miserable at points, and I wanted out at the end for sure. I wanted to build something different. I wanted to live differently, and I could feel this pull towards something more aligned, more real, more me. But I kept waiting for permission. I waited for my partner to say, yes, absolutely, do it. I believe in you. We don't need the money. I waited for my family to understand why I'd walk away from such a secure career. I waited for my colleagues to validate that I wasn't crazy. I waited for my inner critic to stop screaming that I was about to throw my life away. And I gave everyone veto power over my life. And you know what? No one gave me permission to change. My partner was scared of the instability. My family thought I was having some kind of breakdown, wanting to do something different. Why would you want to do that? What? My colleagues thought I'd lost the plot. My bank account said, are you insane? And my inner critic, that voice was loud. You're going to fail. You'll regret this. You should stay where you are, where you're safe. And they were all protecting themselves from my uncertainty, from their own fears, from what change would mean for them. Not one of them was protecting me. And that's when I realized no one was going to give me permission because my change made everyone feel uncomfortable. So I had a choice. Was I going to wait for forever for the permission that wasn't coming, or was I going to give it to myself? And that's what I did. I gave myself the permission, not in some arrogant, reckless, without thought way, but deliberately, consciously. I said out loud to myself, like a ceremony, I give myself permission to want what I want, even though no one else understands it, to give myself permission to choose me, to disappoint people who need me to say the same, to grow even when it's uncomfortable, to trust myself more than I trust other people's fears about my life. And that was the shift. I stopped asking, I stopped waiting, and I chose myself. Yeah, some people aren't in my life anymore. Some people judged me. Some people said I made the biggest mistake of my life, but I grew anyway. Because here's what I finally understood. Their comfort was never my responsibility. Loving them, yes. Having compassion for their fear, absolutely. But shrinking myself to make them feel comfortable, absolutely not. That's self-abandonment dressed up as kindness that you don't need. So, how do you actually give yourself permission? What does that look like in real life? First, you have to recognize what you're really waiting for. You think you're waiting for permission, but what you're actually waiting for is certainty. You want someone to promise you, this will work out. You won't fail. You won't lose people. Everything will be fine. But no one can promise you that. Life doesn't work that way. Change doesn't come with guarantees. So stop waiting for certainty because there isn't any. Choose anyway. Second, get really clear about whose permission you're seeking. Whose approval do you need before you'll move forward? Is it your parents? Is it your partner? Is it your best friend? Society's invisible rule book, your own inner critic, some perfect future vision of yourself that finally has it all together. Name them, actually write them down, and then ask yourself honestly, will this person ever give me permission to outgrow them, to choose something they don't understand, to become someone they can't predict or control? Usually the answer is no. Not because they're terrible people, but because they're human, and humans don't like uncertainty, especially when it's caused by someone they love changing in ways they can't control. So third, and this is the big one, you reclaim your power. And I want you to actually do this, not just think about it, actually say this out loud right now if you can with me, or later today if you're alone in the car, or the kitchen, or whenever you can speak freely. Say, I give myself permission to want what I want, even if no one else understands it. I give myself permission to grow, even if it makes people feel uncomfortable. I give myself permission to choose me, even when it disappoints others. I give myself permission to try and fail and try again. I give myself permission to trust my inner coach more than anyone else's opinion of me. I give myself permission to build a life that feels like mine and not someone else's. Say it, say these things, feel it in your body and mean it, because this isn't a one-time thing. This is a daily practice. This is reps. You need to build this muscle. Every single day you're going to face moments where you need to choose. Do I choose self-permission or self-abandonment? Do I choose my growth or their comfort? Do I listen to my inner coach, or do I wait for external approval that's never coming? Choose yourself again and again and again. And here's the hard part, the part that no one wants to talk about. When you give yourself permission to grow, some people are going to leave. Not because you're doing anything wrong, not because you're being selfish or reckless or crazy, but because your growth forces them to look at their own stuckness. And if they're not ready to grow with you, they'll choose their comfort over your relationship. And that's painful, and it's real, it's grief, and it's also okay. The people who belong in your life will celebrate your growth, not resist it. Those are your people. The ones who say, I see you changing and it's inspiring and it's beautiful and I love it. How can I support you? The rest? They were companions for a season, and that season is over. You can grieve that, you should grieve that, but don't let it stop you from growing and living your best life, because that's what you deserve and that's what you're worthy of. Here's what I need you to hear. You've been waiting for permission that is never coming. The people you're seeking it from, they're probably scared. scared of your growth, scared of change, scared of what it means if you become someone they don't recognize. Their fear is not your responsibility. You can love them, you can have compassion for them, you can hold space for their discomfort, but you cannot, I repeat, you cannot abandon yourself to keep them comfortable. So here's your permission slip right now from me to you. You are allowed to want more. You are allowed to choose yourself. You are allowed to set boundaries, to disappoint people, to try and fail again and again. You're allowed to grow even when it's uncomfortable, especially when it's uncomfortable. You're allowed to trust yourself more than you trust other people's fears about you. You don't need anyone's approval to become who you're meant to be. Not your parents, not your partners, not your friends, not societies, not your perfect future selves, not even your inner critics. You just need yours. And that's the bravest thing you'll ever do. Give yourself permission. Choose yourself. The right people will stay, the wrong people will leave, and both outcomes are okay. You're not here to live someone else's approved version of your life. You're here to live yours. You needed to hear this today. Please hit like and subscribe. Tomorrow is day 11. Why other people don't want you to change and what to do when you reach this. Because here's what happens. You give yourself this permission. You start growing and suddenly the people around you get really uncomfortable. And we're talking about why that happens and how to navigate it without abandoning yourself tomorrow. I'm Jodie Bowen. This is day 10 of the Change Code, week 2. My belief shift, my change framework and book. Change is constant, so why not get good at it? See you tomorrow.